Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to prepare your document file in Word to upload and split into Scrivener so that your chapters and your scenes are separated the way you want them to with the least amount of fiddling possible. The trick is to keep your file simple and to put a hashtag in between the sections that you want split. Now here's my main file. It normally wouldn't be this fancy. I usually keep it very simple chapter headings. I don't mess around with formatting until my final proof. So what we want to do is we want to take out everything that's not necessary. That's all this header and the table of contents. We do not need that when we bring it into Scrivener. So I'm going to delete all that. And we're going to turn on all of the hidden symbols so that we can see what's going on. Now everybody's preferences are different. In my file, if you notice, I have these paragraph headers and there's generally 8 of them before every chapter. And then I have a chapter heading and I have a subheading. And then I have the whole file is single space because this was for print format. And I have one paragraph hard return between the title and the text. Everything is single spaced. And if you notice, when I have a scene break, as in up here, this is a scene break, there is an extra space. So what I want to do is I want to replace this symbol with a hashtag. And I also want my chapter split because that's the way I like to do it. I like my scenes and my chapters separate. So I want to replace this symbol also with the hashtag. Now this also means that I'm going to have some extra ones. That's not a big deal. That it's not going to be perfect. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our home, and we're going to find and replace. We're going to find and replace this symbol, and what we want to do is have the caret, that's shift 6, and P for paragraph. And I'm going to replace with that symbol. Now I'm going to do 8 of these because I want to first replace the header. Deleting hard returns. 4, 6, 8. All right, so there's 8, and I'm going to replace all. I'm pretty confident that my entire document is consistent, so I know that there's only 8 paragraph headers before my chapter, so I'm going to replace all. All right. It's okay, sometimes you're going to have some extra ones. I'm not concerned about that. I can always fix that later. And now I also want to replace any double hard returns here. Not singles. If you replace single, you replace your whole document. I don't want to do that. So we're going to do shift 6, another P. So now whenever there are 2 paragraph symbols together, like here, 1, 2, it will replace that with this hashtag. If I only do 1, it will replace all of these within the document, and I don't want that. I want it only when it's doubled. 1, 2. So I'm going to replace all. Again, I'm confident that my document is consistent, so I know it's only going to replace my subheadings. Now don't worry about, see how the subheading, the format is changed? That's not important. So I'm going to close this, and I'm just going to double check to see that it did what I wanted. All right, can you see here? Now, whenever I have these hashtag, that is where Scrivener is going to split the file. So it's going to split it here before the chapter. It's also going to split it here after the subheading, and that's what I want. So I'm going to save this. If it will cooperate. Right, I'm saved. Now I'm going to open up my Scrivener. I've already started a new project. I've called it split test. And this is a pretty standard novel format with chapters. So you're going to select, make sure you're on manuscript. You're going to go to File. And you're going to go to Import. You're going to go Import and Split. And it's going to ask you how you want it separated. Now you can put anything in here that you want. You could have just separated by chapter. Anything that was headed by chapter, it will split it there for you. If you had another symbol, let's say you had triple stars here, it would split it there for you. I only used a hashtag because, I just decided to use that one. There's no reason why you can't use something else. And we're going to browse and import the file. Okay. Now wherever there is a hashtag, it's going to split the file. It'll just take a minute depending on how big your file is. Taking a little bit. Unfortunately, Google Docs does not have an ability to replace invisible characters. So you will, if you're using Google Docs, and I use Google Docs for all my beta, and what I'll do is I'll export it as a Word file, and I will import that into Scrivener. I'm usually at that point not concerned with formatting, and I always separate my scenes in my drafts by either a hashtag or triple stars or something, just so that I know where the scenes are split up. And I always header with chapter. If there's a subheading, I do put a subheading, but I don't worry about its positioning. I can always fix that for my final copy. Things going to take a second. My computer is a little upset, but we'll get there. There we go. As you can see, under your manuscript, everything is now split into a file. So I'm pretty happy with this because I can see that I have chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the chapters have been split. And I can see all my sections. Now the header seems to be connected to the chapter heading, which is fine. That's a minor thing, that's easy to fix, and it's not going to affect me editing, doing any major edits that I need to do, because I can always fix that later. Now when I am ready to export, and I can export just the way this is, it'll export into a file. But if I do want to adjust the heading so that I can, make it really nice at the end, what I will do is I will delete anything that's unimportant. For example, here Scrivener is taking the header and it has put it in its own file, and I don't need that. So we can just put that in trash. So I'm just going to right click and move to the trash. So because I don't need that. And I have chapter 1. So I like to have my chapters in their own folder. I don't need this folder. This was already here, so I'll move that to trash. So I can right click on this and I can convert to folder. Now this is now my folder, and it does have the subheading in it. I don't mind it being there, but you can change it if you like. I can always move this later. I can even highlight this, and I can change this. See, where is it? Set selected text as title. So I don't have to name this chapter 1. I can set this at the title, and now it is the subheading. You can change it however you want. I can even make other chapter folders and move it into it. It depends on what you want to do. I'm going to change this back so I can change it back. Set selected text as title. Now I'm going to take all these and I can move them all into chapter 1. Some more files, chapter 2. This is chapter 3. Because I know that these are all my sections that go with those. I don't have to do it now. I don't have to do it at all if I don't want to. It depends on if I want to organize that way or not. And it's all not going to take too long. I mean, I've got several chapters, but as you can see, it's only taking me a couple of seconds to just highlight and move them up. And you can also multiple select chapters and change them all. We can convert to folder and do them all at once. And now all the sections are within their folders. Okay. And again, I generally don't have my chapters in 2 folders. I like to name my with my subheadings, because this is a short story collection. So again, if I change my mind, I just go and I can tell it set selected text as title, and then I can delete all this, and it's gone. And if you notice, the folder changes a little bit. Oops. If there's no little file on here, it tells me that there's no text there. And that's usually the way I like to have my collection for shorts, flash fiction set up. And I can do it with this too. Now there's going to be sometimes a little weird formatting. I wouldn't worry about that too much, especially if I'm doing major edits. It's not a big deal. I'm going to go through the files anyway. But it's a lot better than doing it by hand, and I have split files up by hand, and then it's definitely not fun. And again, you can adjust this however you want. I have a specific way I'm doing this one, so. And I know that I can also do the shortcut, the F2. So here we go, I can do this. I can hit F2. And there you go, that's the shortcut. You don't have to right click and go to the menu. You only use the menu if you want to see what the shortcut is. So if I forget, it's not a big deal. I highlight one, I right click, set selected text as title. Oh yeah, that's F2. So I select that, I hit F2, and it does it for me, all done. And I can just delete that. I don't have to delete it. There is no reason why you have to delete it. You can always tell Scrivener just to ignore the text inside the folder. And you can just leave it there. So you can edit as much or as little as you like. Again, this will not print. The text inside the folder will not print unless you tell Scrivener to export it that way. Okay, that's how you import your Word file into Scrivener using the split feature. I hope that it helped you out. I'll see you next time.